Thanks, Dick. All right, kids up front, if you guys can sit down up in front, there's plenty of room up here. We're going to get a little more dynamic here. I will say, Dick is so politically correct that he said his kid did 2 months of junior sailing this summer. He did 1 month at Annapolis Yacht Club and 1 month at Severn Sailing Association because he didn't want to upset anybody. All right, so first we got some great kids here this evening. It looks like we have about 70 kids. Kids, can we hear from you? Awesome. So I'm going to run through a few. Let's hear. Any kids sail out of Severn Sailing Association here? Oh, yeah. We got some. Any kids sail out of the Annapolis Yacht Club here? Any kids from Box of Rain here? Box of Rain. Any kids from the Jesse Junior program here? Jesse Junior. Awesome. Any kids from Spirit of America here? All right, so to the sailors in the crowd, this is a very diverse group of kids. Some are hardcore into the racing, some are hardcore into the day sailing. All of them love to be out on the water, and all of them are always looking for people to look up to and to be inspired by. And we put together a panel over here. We're going to try to figure out, you guys are actually going to have to come up here, I'm afraid, because of the microphone. So come on up. I'm going to introduce you to our panel kids, and this is a pretty interesting group. So first up, we have Terry Hutchinson, the reigning Rolex Yachtsman of the Year. Let's have a round of applause for Terry. Terry grew up in the Annapolis area. He did junior sailing right here. He was 2 times College Sailor of the Year at Old Dominion University. He sailed in the America's Cup. He sailed in the Whitbread. Next up, we have Jenny Tullock. Jenny, want to give a wave? So Jenny's a great small boat sailor and a great big boat sailor. So Jenny, here, I need to go up and see you, Jenny. You're the star here, not me. Jenny was a 3-time All-American sailor at Harvard, and the reason she didn't make it all 4 was because she graduated in 3 years. She also was Female College Sailor of the Year while she was at Harvard. She's currently has an Olympic campaign going in match racing, and maybe you saw her in the movie. She's also a movie star. She was on board the Morning Light in that great movie that came out last year. Next up, from the West Coast, we have Kristen Lang. She's the skipper of boat number 623. Now, she's an interesting one on this panel, and I'm pretty excited to hear what she has to say. Kristen was not a junior sailor. She didn't start sailing until she was an adult. However, she was the first woman driver in the Melges 24 fleet to finish in the top 10 at the U.S. Nationals. And last year in these very waters, she was the first female driver to win a race at the North Americans. And out west, Kristen's very involved with junior sailing. She sponsors and works with the program from the Boys and Girls Club of Marin, the Tiburon Yacht Club, and the Sea Scouts. So she's very involved in community boating on the West Coast. Finally, Chris Larson. Chris grew up in Florida, did his junior sailing in Florida, went to the College of Charleston where he was College Sailor of the Year at College of Charleston. In 1997, Chris won the J24 World Championship, and he was a Rolex Yachtsman of the Year that year. Chris also has sailed in the America's Cup and in the Whitbread. So we've got a pretty diverse panel. I'm going to ask you guys to step up here again. I need you in the light, I'm afraid, for the cameras. So first of all, guys, it's pretty neat to see all these kids out on a weeknight, and so we'll just go right down the line here. Terry, what's the first thing you would say to these guys? We've got all ages here, all sorts of interests, but what is it about sailing that's such a special thing to you and that you'd like to pass on to these guys?
The first thing I'd say is, have you all done your homework? No? Yeah, I can believe it out of you there, Mr. Cover. The beauty of sailing for me, having grown up, first doing my junior sailing at the West River Sailing Club and then ending up at Severn Sailing Association, is the people you see in this room are people that you know for basically your entire life, and it's such a great fraternity and community that we have of friends that we race against. And Chris and I have raced against each other since we were in college. And for the better part of 20 years, we've been pounding on each other. But you go around the room and you run into people, be it from another country or from another coast or from another state even, that you know whenever you go somewhere, if you get in a little bit of trouble, if you run out of gas, you need something, you can call on some of these friends that are your sailors because you've seen them around at regattas time in and time out. That to me is probably the best thing about our sport is, really the people you meet and the relationships you develop as you go through life.
Nice answer, Terry. That's good. So Jenny, clearly you found a balance of success on the water and in the classroom and on the big screen. Some of these kids are in love with sailing and it's all they want to do. I know the 12-year-old me, I could have cared less about the classroom. All I wanted to do was go sailing. Can you talk a little bit about finding balance in the life for these kids? Because clearly that's something you've been able to do.
Definitely. So I was talking with someone named Sarah earlier tonight, and I grew up in Houston. There wasn't a lot of sailing there, and I did everything. I did high school sports, I did high school, I did studying, homework, etc. And I really loved sailing because of what Terry said, because I had friends all over the U.S. and all over the world. But at the same time, I kind of really enjoyed being at home and being with my friends in school and doing things that were a part of outside of sailing. And then you could really focus on sailing when you were involved in sailing. And I think it is really important to find a balance. And all the way through college sailing, you have to go away for the weekend, race hard, and then kind of think about your homework, whether it's on the way there or on the way back. And somehow people make it work and find a way to make it all balance each other, and whether it's 30, 70, 20, 90, I don't know, that's not even adding up well, but enjoy it. That's the most important part. Whatever it is that you're doing, sailing, homework, school, friends, just have a good time with it.
All right, Jenny. So if any parents, I know there's a lot of parents here, and I know when I was chairman of the AYC Junior Fleet Committee, I got a lot of questions from parents about balancing academics and sailing, especially at some of the elite schools where they had visions of their kids. This is Jenny, so she can talk to you about this. Maybe not tonight, but at some point you should make contact with her because she's clearly found the right formula. Kristen, you've got an interesting story. You didn't start sailing until you were in your 30s, right? And but you've done a pretty good job, it sounds like, being very engaged with community sailing in San Francisco. Can you say what attracted it to you, and what some of the things you're working on out there?
Well, I love sailing because, for me, it's given me an opportunity to do things I never thought I was capable of. I never imagined that I would have an opportunity to race against and sometimes beat these guys. And I think that sailing is a wonderful tool for teaching you that you're capable of doing anything you want in life if you come up with a plan and maybe get a coach and listen to your coach and do it. And so my husband Peter and I have been trying to introduce some of the kids in the Boys and Girls Club to keelboat racing and keelboat sailing with the Tiburon Yacht Club. And I think it's important to take people whose lives otherwise would not intersect with the sport of sailing and introduce them to all of the great gifts that sailing can give someone. And you never know how you're going to change a life.
All right, thank you. And next up, Chris Larson. And Chris, much like Terry and I, we're parents of kids in junior programs here, and I know you're running your daughters through there. Maybe you can speak to the parents a little bit here too, and to the kids from a parent's perspective. What are some of the things you think is important for them? I mean, you obviously had parents that were involved in your sailing. What could a parent do to make it better for kids?
Well, for me, when I was growing up, I think one of the most important things is my parents never pushed me to sail. They gave me plenty of opportunity to golf, to play tennis, to do plenty of other sports. But over the years, I kept coming back to sailing and really never stopped ever since. Right now, I have two girls, which are twins, 8 years old, Olivia and Maddie down there. And right now, what we do is they've sailed a little bit at AYC, at the junior program. They're horseback riding, they're playing golf. Right now, one's playing hockey and one's figure skating. So right now, just give them opportunities to try everything, and if they're really there for sailing, they're going to come back to it. As Terry said, I think it really is a fraternity. We've been doing it for so long. We have so many good friends around the world. It's special, and the world is very big, but our community is very small, and you don't get that with any other sport.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris. So let me give you a quick agenda here. We're going to take a couple questions from you kids. You're going to have to come